I should check my email. My parents must have... As I opened the lab door, I immediately froze. Oop. Augustine ranted angrily at Rosemarie, who gestured to a chipped stone with tiny flakes surrounding it. I love your shirt, by the way.
Permission to touch or manipulate any.
This is for my research! The two paused, then turned to me, and I cowered at their annoyed stares. As I shrunk back, Augustine approached and slammed the lab door shut. Oh, okay. Not wanting to loiter, I whirled around and collided into someone. Now I was awkwardly sandwiched between that person and the door. Sorry about that. Oh. I glanced up, instantly recognizing Kyler's tall frame. He appeared baffled and gazed at the door. Muffled voices still argued behind it. He took a few steps back to allow more space between us. Did something happen? From what I could gather, Augustine is mad at Rosemarie over something. Why, were you planning to enter the lab too? Yes, I was planning to ask a few questions, but it's probably not the best time now. Yourself. I wanted to check my email. My laptop is in there, but I don't think they'd appreciate it if I slipped in to nab it. You could try using the computer upstairs. That old thing? Well, it's worth a shot. It was then that I heard the faint clicking of a keyboard upstairs. I doubted Hendrik would remain in the lab with that sort of tension going on. Sure enough, halfway up the stairs I spotted his auburn ponytail. I glanced back down at Kyler. Maybe it's something you can ask Hendrik. I don't like going to him. He won't stop making those awful puns. Kyler never acted this juvenile, and it caught me off guard. I wondered if he'd mistranslated his words, but his body language suggested otherwise. If you're curious, I could ask Hendrik about the situation. Hesitantly, Kyler took a step forward, and I cheered silently. I doubted Kyler would mention his original question to Hendrik, but maybe engaging him in conversation would loosen up whatever friction the two had with each other. Huh? I trooped upstairs energetically and gave Hendrik a wave. Hey, working up here now? Sort of had to. Couldn't concentrate with the noise downstairs. So... what happened? My email could wait, and it would inconvenience Hendrik to ask for his computer anyway. What's going on downstairs? It sounded as if they were upset over something. Ah, that. It's nothing new here, although I wish it happened less often. Kyler folded his arms wearily, and the two exchanged knowing glances that I couldn't understand. Of course, Kyler's been here for like 4 years, so maybe that cleared something up for him. Yeah. What's the argument about this time? Despite my advice, Rosemarie insisted on gluing flakes to a lithic core found in the A3 layers, since we've been able to uncover debitage belonging to that core. That doesn't seem so bad. That's how you gain knowledge about napping, right? Yes, but she ended up using the wrong glue. I'm not going to enjoy dismantling it. Honestly, I don't know why you let her continue to work here. She's nothing but trouble. What kind of attitude is that? Despite our disagreements, she is excellent at her job. If anything, her insight has been valuable. Affronted, Hendrik stood up from his chair, shooting Kyler an aggravated glare. Kyler flinched slightly, but his eyes narrowed again. I tensed up, wondering if I should say something to appease them or leave before it got too heated. I only say that because I'm thinking of the excavation team's best interests. You're getting ahead of yourself here. You're acting like you're one of us already. Just because you're in my uncle's good graces doesn't mean we'll hire you once you graduate. And we're not intending to hire anyone soon, especially not an inexperienced person fresh out of university, with only a few months of field work under his belt. Ooh. Kyler lowered his arms, his eyes looking both resentful and distraught, as if the notion had never occurred to him. He's been coming here even though he doesn't have to, man. Recovering, he clenched a fist, his voice rigid with determination. I've excavated here longer than most people. I've certainly spent more time in the cave than you. I'm highly qualified. There's much more than just digging diligently in the same old square. Oh, I didn't care if I was an outsider. Guys, quit it! I firmly stood between them before their voices escalated even louder than the commotion downstairs. There's already one dispute. Can we not have another? Besides, Hendrik has a point. That was a little harsh, Hendrik. You both have good points, but stop. I'm leaving. I'm not taking either of your sides. I'm gonna be in the middle, and you can both hate me evenly. You both are on the same side, essentially, wanting the excavation here to run smoothly. I'm glad to see such devotion, but this isn't helping. I know you're concerned, but ease off on the hostility. Hendrik and Kyler exchanged intense looks, but both subsided. Hendrik relaxed, more willing to reconcile, while Kyler begrudgingly averted his eyes. She's right. I don't agree on some things, but I definitely could have handled this better. My apologies, Kyler. No, I did say something rather undiplomatic. Rosemary is an important member of the team. Even Augustine can see that. He really hates agreeing with Hendrik unless Augustine has the same viewpoint. I apologize for my behavior. With a conclusive nod, Kyler wordlessly excused himself and descended the stairs. I wavered between them indecisively. Ugh, what to do? Should I stay with Hendrik or catch up to Kyler? I'm staying out of this right now. You guys can wait your turn. No, I should avoid this entirely. I excused myself, forgetting about the option to read my email. I needed fresh air to clear my mind and disperse any sourness that I felt from that exchange. Hopefully they would get along later. You too. Too much testosterone. Alright, what do we got in the cave today? Ah, 5x5. Thank goodness. Alright. This one looks kind of familiar. Maybe. Okay, nothing more in here. This has to be this. This has to be this. This has to be this. And there. Hooray! Coordinates. I'll read about that. Coordinates. Cullen Cave measures using the XY axes and the datum point, Z. X runs parallel to the cave entrance, while Y runs from the entrance. Z is a fixed position for measuring altitude. Altogether, this provides a 3D spatial context of the excavated project. Okay. Ugh, these clay sediments are a pain. I grumbled inwardly as I wiped the sticky dirt off yet again. I was on my knees trying to finish the last 25 centimeters. I did uncover tiny bones, but rationalized they weren't worth sketching in the grid. Oh, hello. There was a sound of scraping metal, and I turned to see Hendrik climbing down the ladder behind me. What a rare sight! You're hardly in the cave, Hendrik. I know. As a geologist, you'd think it'd be the opposite, but here I am now. He surveyed my square, and I started to get self-conscious, wondering if I was doing something wrong. Hope you don't mind the tight squeeze. He knelt down next to me, and I hastily moved to my haunches, offering him my knee pad. He shook his head. Don't worry about it. I'll just be here for a few minutes. I wanted to observe your digging techniques. Ew. What's that face for? After I made myself comfortable again, I leaned forward to start excavating. He watched, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. How am I doing? Is your wrist well? Any pains from repetition? Nope. Sherry gave me some pointers to avoid it. Great. Mind if I borrow your trowel for a second? Sure. I cleaned it, handed it over, and he grasped it nimbly. I've noticed your wrist is slightly angled, and you're simply scraping or trailing your trowel through the dirt. It's painfully slow. Isn't archaeology supposed to be painfully slow? He held the trowel so it was parallel to the dirt. It is, but even you should be able to dig through a few centimeters a day. Align your trowel like so, then make a nice downward flick with the wrist. The blade of the tool effortlessly sliced through the clay much cleaner than before. don't be afraid to make large cuts. This helps you avoid blurring the sediment lines, as it's neater and easier to distinguish. I've never actually seen his full hand until now. Interesting. Wow. Inwardly panic over him working. I'll just admire his procedure. His movements were broad yet graceful. It was strange. Even with such a simple action, I could tell he was experienced. I watched in awe. I have to say something obvious here. You're good at this. I've been doing this for years, so I have a slight inkling on how to excavate. Also, he extended his arm upward toward the middle of the square. The trowel smoothly grazed over the dirt until it bit into a slope. Your square isn't entirely vertical. If you're worried about digging too far inward, use a ruler to double-check. Thanks for the tip, Hendrik. Geen probleem. If you need me again, I'll be happy to assist. Just don't start taking me for granite. Okay, that was cheesy, even for you. Hey, that pun is a classic. He returned the tool to me and stood up. Glancing in Kyler's direction, Hendrik rubbed the back of his head, mulling over how to approach him. Finally, he tapped Kyler on the shoulder. Kyler begrudgingly stared at him before activating his implant. Oui. Kyler's voice struggled to keep an even tone, while Hendrik's voice had a shaky cheerfulness to it. I was wondering if you needed any help or had any questions. I'm fine. I don't need your help. Kyler returned to his square, ignoring Hendrik, who sighed ruefully. It's not the best time to ask, even if my curiosity is killing me. I returned to my work while Hendrik climbed up the ladder, most likely to make his rounds with the other students. Staring at my trowel, I recalled Hendrik's movements, then attempted to mimic them to the best of my ability. Slice cleanly, huh? I inspected the work Hendrik did and made similarly sized cuts into the soil. The clay was sticky and cumbersome, but it was not as bad when I had my trowel angled. The rest of the day was uneventful, but at least my progress was much better. I stood up and stretched. It was a good time to take a small break and jot down some notes in my journal. I'm gonna get some fresh air. You know, Kyler, you're gonna get hypoxia if you don't go outside every now and then. I'll be fine. Okay, later. Sorry I asked. Oh, sorry, Deandre! Whacked you in the face. Alright. You have 5 more objects to clean in the lab. Alright. 8. Plus 7 is 15. Plus 6 is 21. Alright, not bad. 9 plus 8 is 17. Plus 6 is 23. Plus 5 is 28. Let's try that. Okay, pretty good. I could have gotten away with the sticks as well. Toothpicks, I mean. 9, 17, 23. Alright. 9. Yeah! 9 plus 8 is 17. 6, 23, 5, 22. Ugh! That didn't work. How come I did an amazing job today? Ugh. Mousterian industry. Oh well, at least I got my new journal. Mousterian industry. Replaced the Archaeological industry 200,000 years ago, and lasted until 30,000 years ago. The lithic technology is associated with Neanderthals and specialized in multi-tool products and prepared cores. Rosemary's specialty as well, it should be noted. Oh man, lab is still difficult. Why does everything I touch turn to dust? Hey, nice shirt! I ambled over to the tent area, wondering if I should kill time by gaming or reading. It was then I spotted Shoji sitting on the edge of his air mattress with the tent flap open. There was a sketchbook in his lap and a pencil sticking out of his mouth. He was erasing something intently, his eyes furrowed in concentration. Quietly, I sauntered over and leaned to the side to catch a glimpse. "What you doin'?" His head jerked up in surprise as he dropped the eraser, his wide eyes peering over his glasses. He mumbled over the pencil before taking it out. Once the shock wore off, his feet shuffled closer, hesitant to reveal his work. Drawing. You're different online. I would love to take a look, but I'll just let him be for now. Sorry, sweet Shoji. I sensed he was guarded and decided not to pester him further. That's cool. Sorry, was curious. I'll get out of your hair now. He simply nodded, his eyes fixated on the paper again. I retreated to my tent and grabbed my 3DP, deciding to relax until dinner was ready. Relaxing. Ow, my hand! I keep doing that. Are we gonna get along this time, or do I need to put you boys in timeout?
Fine, I'll be the adult here. You really suck as a volunteer partner, but I shouldn't have yelled at you. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to snap at you while preparing lunch last week. You know what you're doing, and I won't ignore your advice.
It's cool.
I'll set the table then.
Remember, the forks go on the left side of the plates?
I know what I'm doing. That didn't last long. Deandre rolled his eyes before he turned to me. That wasn't so bad now, was it?
I guess, but I doubt we'll get along swimmingly. Can't stand him.
I'm sure there's a few good things about Kyler. He appreciates morbid jokes, for instance.
Like?
He's hardworking in the cave. We won't mention that right now. Should I mention it? We'll just...
Don't strain yourself now.
I got nothing.
I guess he's kinda cute, if you squint.
Really?
Like I said, if you squint. I have a call to make. I'll be right back.
I want to hear why you think Kyler looks cute, DeAndre. Okay. All done? I set up everything and... Oh, she's squinting. Okay, I'm gonna try squinting. Oh, who am I kidding? He looks gorgeous even without squinting. Why are you staring at me like that? No reason.
Oh, I failed. And I dance.
Oh, I finally succeeded in dancing, thank goodness. Okay. Let's see, let's start our next thing. Monday. Alright, we'll go to the lab like we do. And volunteer, I guess. And then lab. Internet. Uh-oh, I should actually go to the lab on Wednesday. Volunteer. Cave. Yeah, I'll catch. Internet. Cave. Volunteer. Town, and dance. Okay, sounds good. Oh, and I should check my relationships.
Oh, so many hearts with Deandre.
Kyler's still... Oh, come on, he'll be bonded over our badger jokes. Got 2 hearts with Hendrik, 1 heart with Shoji, and almost a full heart with Joan. Oops, that's not what I wanted at all. Let's... nope, still... there we go. Oh man, how did my diligence get so high? I'm trying to work on my culture. Maybe I should get rid of... I'm gonna play catch one more time. Whatever.
Oh. No.
8, 7. Okay. 9, 8, 20, 27. 17 plus 6 is 23. That's 5. Ooh! Took a chance. 9, 7. Oh, I should have stopped. I should have stopped. I broke a thing. 9 plus 8 is 17. 7 is 23. Oh wow, I'm doing terribly today. 8 plus 7 is 15. 6 is 21. Oh! Wow. I still unlocked Chantel Peronian Industry. That's like good luck. One of the earliest Upper Paleolithic industry ranging from 45,000 to 20,000 years ago. The last industry associated with Neanderthals. Its main characteristic is the increased variety of materials used. Stone, bone, antler, and knives that are sharpened on both cutting edge and back. Okay. This bone looks fragile at the ends. I'll just wipe the middle then. Once I was done, I wrote down his identification, then placed it into the cup next to me. It looks like you're settling in the lab just fine. Thanks. At least bones aren't falling apart in my hands, aside from the couple I did. They do require that delicate touch. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Did Hendrik or Augustine tell you about the history of Carlen Cave? Augustine did. I didn't know its discovery was so interesting. Interesting? It seemed like a standard procedure to me. Wait, then a lot of caves here were discovered by kids? Kids? Augustine said kids found the cave after they watched a movie about a certain exploring archaeologist. He told you that? 9! Carlen was discovered by cavers during a survey back in the 80s. There's a lot of caves in this region, and they were mapping them out. Looks like you fell for one of his jokes. You stick your tongue out too. Seems so. Thanks for clearing it up. No problem. Augustine tends to spin things once in a while. Don't take him too seriously. Unless it's about microstratigraphy. Right. We just won't talk about that, maybe. Ow! Ow! Why am I failing so badly? Do I have to do better stress reductions? Ah, sweet! 9 plus 8, 17. 23, 22. Phew. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 4 is 15. Yeah! 9, 17. Phew. Alright, that's more like it. Oh my. Aurignacian culture. Oh, hey Sherry, it's been a while. Where's that? In our lab entry? Lasted between 45 to 35,000 years ago. This industry is associated with modern humans. It is distinguished by its highly worked bone and antler points. There were also a burst in creativity, creating cave paintings, jewelry, and portable art such as the Venus figurines. Oh, is that what we're looking at? My. That's a cave hyena jaw. What do you know? There's other bones besides bear. She then focused on Joan's question, now answering in French. Fortunately, the jaw was in good condition, and I simply brushed off the dirt in the crevices of the molars. Kyler was on the other side of the table, his eyes focused as he dipped the pen into the ink bottle. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Hendrik standing a few feet away, watching Kyler. He then approached and said something to him. Pausing, Kyler muttered something dismissively and returned to recording the find, not once glancing in Hendrik's direction. Guessing that didn't go swimmingly either. I feel like in Kyler's read I'm going to be doing a lot of babysitting. Melissa, when you're done cleaning that bone, can I talk to you for a few minutes? His smile was kind, but his eyes seemed troubled, and I nodded meekly. Wonder what that's about. Once I cleaned and recorded the jaw, I placed the document next to the tray filled with cups. Carefully, I inserted the jaw into a bigger cup, then entered the museum. Sorry for dragging you away from everyone. I thought it'd be more polite this way. Did I do something wrong? He grinned to appease me and tapped the paper he held. I've noticed that you've been neglecting to sketch the findings for the grid at the bottom here in your most recent documents. I peered at the blank section. Is it important? Extremely. It's great that you're recording the dimensions, but you're not telling us the position that it's found in. It can mean the difference between a bone deposited from natural processes or physically placed there by human activity. I'm not my uncle since I prefer the KISS approach. Basically, don't forget to record the context. Despite his attempt to keep the conversation pleasant, I sensed the weight behind the words. I'll be sure to do that from now on. I'm really sorry. You've probably lost some valuable data because of this. Aware of my guilt, he gave me a comforting pat on the shoulder. You're acting as if no one else made mistakes like this before. It's an ongoing learning progress. For both of us. You're lucky you decided not to excavate today. I can tell Augustine I've already spoken to you. His lectures tend to get lengthy. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. I summed up conversation to Sherry. Was that it? I should have checked on your documents more often. It's not your fault. I was getting careless. Still, I wish it was caught earlier. It takes a while to sort through everything found. Augustine and Rosemarie are still going through findings from 20 years ago. Now I'm lucky my mistake was only caught a week later. Eee, could have been bad. Oh, thank goodness I succeeded in that. What's up? Rosemarie blinked out of her trance and turned to me. Flashing a smile, she made a sweeping movement with her arm to direct my attention. Oh, trying to refit this collection. They're all pieces from the same layer, and I'm trying to connect them. That sounds difficult. There's easily hundreds right here. Think of it as getting a box of pieces from different jigsaw puzzles. They don't tell you how many pieces are missing, or how many puzzles they're from. No pictures to help either. It's a huge accomplishment even to pair up one. And now I'm forbidden to use glue. Bah! Yeah, I did hear a snippet of it. It seems both Augustine and Hendrik don't like it when the collections get fiddled with. Agitated, she slammed both hands on the table. They disapprove of removing anything from their precious order. Everything must remain in its properly recorded place and stored away. They pay more attention to context and the microstratigraphy than actively putting the pieces together. I feel like I'm the only one who wants to learn about the Neanderthals. Ugh, they're so boneheaded. No, more like rock-headed. Forgive me for resorting to one of Hendrik's puns. Anyways, I'm the one who studies all of the technology. I even craft my own tools and weapons here to demonstrate. If you'd like, feel free to help me. Seeing it up close is fascinating. Just watch yourself. Many of the blades and edges are still sharp like new. Sure. I pulled up a chair focusing on the nearest pieces. So these are all from Cullen Cave? Of course! Every single one documented and accounted for. If a flint was found in the wet screening though, it'll be missing some coordinates. The variety was stunning. From small flaked pieces to others that resembled axes or thin knives. I picked up one and brought it to her attention. How were they able to accomplish this exactly? Sherry did lecture to me about it, but it was mostly sketched diagrams of the final product and not the process. It depends on what they were planning to do with it. For example, make a reclaw, axe, points. The one you're holding is a reclaw, also called a scraper. You can see it was beautifully retouched by pressure flaking at its edge here. They'd use a burin, think of it like a chisel with a pointed end, and apply force until it snapped a flake off. good for finer details and to resharpen tools. Neanderthals were clever. They knew how to get long use out of their tools, and they had more control than the previous stone tool industries. And this one? I picked it up. The stone had an odd bulb near the end, followed by ripples along its surfaces. It reminded me of a shell. That's a conchoidal flake. It could be retouched into a tool if needed. It was easier to carry lightweight flakes than large intact rocks. This was done by percussion flaking. Basically, they used a hammerstone to strike it at a precise angle to break flakes off, causing this rippling pattern. We placed the objects down, and Rosemary tapped one of the bigger stones in the center of the box. This scarred thing in the middle is a quartzite core. Quartzite is extremely hard to nap, but if material was limited, they would use it. Now I need to find the tertiary flakes to fit to it. Tertiary? Flakes from the interior part of the rock. Think of the core as the yolk of an egg, the tertiary flakes as the white part, and the outer flakes, called primary and secondary, as pieces of the shell. I'm following how the Neanderthals napped the tools in reverse, step by step. I know the terminology can be a little overwhelming. Right now, it's more important to be able to identify them when you're digging. This quartzite is actually from an old Moose River deposit a few kilometers from here. Hendrik and I published a few papers on material sources. Higher quality material like flint and chert would be carried for even longer distances. Dear me, I'm blathering on like some cartoon owl from a kid's show. If you'd like, I can show you some of the stuff Hendrik and I published together. It'll give you more insight regarding Calen's history. Really? I'd love to see it if you could email or print it off. I was awed that they had published works, but now that I thought about it, they probably published updates or findings related to Calen Cave. It sounds like you and Hendrik have worked a lot together. We attended the same university, and we went to similar classes. Obviously published some papers together, too. I hesitated, but decided to be frank about it. It'd been nagging at the back of my mind for a while. Yeah, I wanted to know this too, because I'm like, you guys are super cute together, but I don't know if you're a couple. Are you and Hendrik a couple? Ooh. What? Where did you get that idea? 999! Don't get me wrong, I love and adore Hendrik, but as a friend, I'm not attracted to men in that way either. Anyway, about the papers. I'll talk to Hendrik about it, since I know he'll have them on hand or in digital format. Why is my name being mentioned? We were discussing whether you guys were a cute couple or not, but apparently not. Oh, Hen, speak of the devil. Hen. Melissa and I were discussing sharing our published works with her. Oh, not those. They're all badly worded gibberish with convoluted sentences in an attempt to sound mastery smart. You're over-exaggerating. And they're, in French. Some are published in English. You know, I don't have to look at them if you don't want me to. I'm satisfied with my recent works, so I don't mind sharing those with you. His first published work could be boiled down to, gee, these 60 million-year-old mountains sure haven't changed much in 60 million years. I had to pick something, and it was still time-consuming compiling all that data. Miss, gee, these Neanderthals prefer to use local napping material. She pouted then, ahemed, to change the subject. I'll gather the newest articles. The ones written by Rosemary and me cover locations of material used for napping, while the ones I've collaborated on with my uncle explain the stratigraphy of Calen. Sounds good. It'll give me something to read over the weekend. Hendrik glanced over at the collection on the table. I'm guessing Rosemary finally gave you one of her spiels? I hope it made up for missing out on the presentation earlier. True. Augustine had decided it was easier to explain stone tools himself since there was only one English-speaking student present. Yep, it was pretty interesting. Must have been, since everyone left 10 minutes ago. Sherry was looking for you. What? I glanced at the wall clock. Thanks for the reminder. Later, Melissa. And thanks again for the talk, Rosemary. What a lovely lady. Oh, sorry, Deandre, I keep doing that to you.